Hey there, truck gun crowd. More drivers are keeping a dedicated firearm in their vehicles these days for a few plain reasons. Quick access when seconds matter, compact storage that won't scream gun, and reliable control when space gets tight. The focus stays practical, tools that deploy fast, handle clean in cramped angles, and survive bumps, dust, and bad weather without drama. This breakdown zeroes in on real-world solutions for real drivers, easy to stow, simple to run, and built to work when the road turns ugly. Smash that like button and follow Firearms Standard. The full breakdown starts now. Kel-Tec KS7. The KS7 checks the core truck gun boxes without drama. Overall length sits at 26.1 inches, just over the shotgun minimum, so it avoids NFA issues while staying extremely compact. Weight lands under 6 pounds, about 5.9, so it comes out of a rack or case without front-heavy wobble. Kel-Tec trimmed it to a single magazine tube that holds 7 2.75-inch shells, which keeps the profile slim and the manual of arms straightforward. The 18.5-inch barrel and a 13-inch length of pull make the package quick to mount from awkward seated angles. Controls are simple. The pump is short and easy to grab, with an ambidextrous pump release and a large crossbolt safety. Ejection is from the bottom, not the side, so a passenger or a left-handed shooter doesn't have to worry about brass in the face. The carry handle doubles as a sight and accessory spine. That bright green triangle front sight draws the eye fast at cab distances, and the top surface takes lights or other add-ons without complicated rails. The result is a gun that runs clean at the distances that matter inside and around a vehicle. Balance is the quiet advantage. With the action tucked back into a bullpup layout, the KS7 stays neutral on the shoulder and lively in the hands. Swing time between targets is short. Recoil management benefits from the straight-line stock and the shooter's stance rather than pure mass, so shot-to-shot recovery feels predictable. For a truck roll, driveway alarms, ranch gates, or a stalled vehicle in tight traffic, this platform brings a lot of control for very little size. Magpul ZEV FDP9. The FDP9 solves a common truck gun problem: where to put a capable, longish gun without broadcasting that a gun is present. Folded, it forms a near square footprint around 11 by 5 inches. That shape tucks into spaces where a typical carbine screams gun bag. Deployment is quick. Pushing down on the forward ambidextrous charging handle pops the system open in about a second, turning a compact slab into a ready-to-run PDW-style pistol. Construction details matter for a vehicle environment. The internal chassis is based on ZEV's OZ9V2 system with Gen 5 style internals, but the FDP9 uses a 4140 steel structure and a hybrid 17-4 type slide configuration, finished in black nitride for corrosion resistance. External controls include folding ambi charging handles positioned forward of the action, which stay out of the way when stowed and sit naturally for a first rack on the draw. Performance stretches beyond its footprint. The 7-inch barrel gives real sight radius with optics and enough dwell to keep 9mm loads consistent. Accuracy at distance is part of the appeal. Ringing steel at 200 yards is on the table for a steady shooter. Unfolded, the overall length hovers around 20 inches, so it still maneuvers well in door frames or between seats. For a truck setup, the strengths are concealment and immediate readiness. The folded state keeps the profile discreet. The fast open keeps the first shot fast. At an MSRP near $1,600, it sits in premium territory. But the blend of compact stowage, durable materials, and real accuracy is the point. For drivers who want a tool that vanishes in plain sight and snaps to work without fishing for latches or straps, the FDP9 checks boxes few others touch. Smith & Wesson M&P FPC 10mm. Folding pistol caliber carbines are natural truck companions, and the M&P FPC in 10mm leans into that role with a smart layout and a strong cartridge. The action uses a simple blowback system inside an aluminum tube receiver, and the gun folds horizontally to a stowed length only a bit longer than its barrel. That fold keeps the package slim enough for behind-seat storage without a bulky case. Barrel length is where this version earns its keep, 16.25 inches, threaded at the muzzle for devices. 10mm gains meaningful velocity out of a long tube, and the platform adds a tungsten-infused recoil buffer to keep impulse manageable. Controls mirror modern AR expectations: bilateral bolt release, crossbolt safety, a reversible magazine release, and an ambidextrous charging handle mounted behind the action. The grip uses the M&P Big 10 frame texture with interchangeable backstraps, so hand fit is easy to dial in. Mounting space is generous. A full-length Picatinny rail runs the handguard for optics, and MLOK slots handle lights or sling points. The rifle ships without sights, which suits the optics-first approach most truck builds take today. Magazine logistics are simple, too. It uses 15-round M&P 10mm M 2.0 magazines, and the stock carries 2 spares in an integrated carrier, while a third mag rides in the action. Price lands at about $699 MSRP, which is notable in a category that often climbs fast. For a driver who wants more authority than 9mm from a folding platform, this setup offers a clean manual of arms, a real velocity bump, and storage that makes sense when space is tight. Remington 870 TAC-14. The TAC-14 answers a very specific truck gun need. Full-power buckshot in a package that moves through door frames and seat belts without snagging. With a 14-inch barrel and an overall length just over 26 inches, it threads that legal needle while keeping the footprint small. At roughly 6 pounds, the all-steel receiver gives the gun a planted feel, and the bird's head Raptor grip keeps the wrist in a neutral angle so the muzzle stays controllable when firing from compressed positions. Capacity sits at 4+1 with 2 3/4-inch shells. Paired with a side saddle, reloads stay on the gun and within reach. The forend glides like it's on bearings, short stroke, positive lockup, so cycling feels clean under stress. An M-lock-ready forend and a short, flat section up front make room for a light or hand stop, which matters when working around vehicles at night. In tight alleys, parking lots, or ranch gates, this 12-gauge behaves like a power tool, pointable, brutal at room distances, and faster in the hands than its dimensions suggest. Shooters who've run stockless pumps know there's a learning curve. The TAC-14 shrinks that curve with a slick pump, a comfortable grip, and a balance that keeps recoil tracking straight back instead of up and off target. For a truck roll where space is at a premium but authority is non-negotiable, this configuration earns its spot. Trailblazer Pivot. Discretion is usually the weak point of long guns in vehicles. The Pivot fixes that with a party trick. Press a button and the top half rotates around the lower, collapsing the rifle until the stored length is only a few inches longer than the 16-inch barrel. The result is a carbine that slips behind a seat or into a nondescript bag without telegraphing gun weight, lands around 5 pounds, so it comes out of the hide quick and mounts without front-heavy wobble. In firing configuration, overall length runs 27 to 30 inches depending on stock position, short enough to clear door frames, long enough to give a stable cheek weld and sight height. It feeds from common Glock 19 magazines, which simplifies logistics if the driver already carries a compatible pistol and the barrel is threaded for a suppressor or compensator. A full-length top rail keeps optic placement flexible, and the handguard leaves room for a light at 10 or 2 o'clock so the muzzle stays clean when working around glass and sheet metal. On the move, the Pivot's advantage is rhythm. Stow small, deploy fast, run like a normal carbine the moment it locks open. For drivers who want the control and velocity of a true 16-inch barrel but need the storage profile of a PDW, this mechanism makes practical sense without weird ergonomics once deployed. Palmetto State Armory, AKV. Not every truck setup needs rifle pressure or shotgun recoil. A soft-shooting 9mm with real capacity and simple controls can be the right call when speed and shot placement matter most. The PSA AKV takes the AK layout most shooters know and rechambers it for 9mm with a robust, direct blowback system. A forged front trunnion and carrier anchor the build. A 10.5-inch nitrided barrel brings durability and keeps length manageable with a muzzle device. Up top, a railed dust cover simplifies red dot mounting, and the extended safety plus paddle-style magazine release speed up the manual of arms. On the last round, the bolt locks open, a welcome upgrade over traditional AK behavior, and a small bolt release switch drops it back into battery. The platform runs on widely available CZ Scorpion pattern magazines. PSA's own versions add refinements and keep costs in check for bulk buys. In and around vehicles, the AKV shines in the fundamentals: minimal muzzle rise, fast splits, and easy tracking through windows and between seats. The geometry keeps the bore close to the shooter's line of support, so transitions feel like a push rather than a climb. With defensive 9mm loads, shooters get controllable recoil, quick follow-ups, and less blast than short-barreled rifle calibers inside confined spaces. For a driver who wants familiar AK ergonomics, modern PCC manners, and an ammo pool that matches a duty or carry pistol, this package hits a sweet spot, especially when price undercuts much of the competition. Henry Big Boy X. A lever-action carbine still makes sense in a truck. The Henry Big Boy X in 357 Magnum brings tube-fed reliability, a side-loading gate, and modern touches like M-lock slots in a tough polymer forend. Barrel length sits in the 16 to 17-inch range, threaded at the muzzle for devices where legal. The package balances well from a seated position, and the straight stock keeps recoil tracking in line. Iron sights are fast, fiber optic fronts pop against headlights and dusk backgrounds, and a short rail section accepts a small red dot without crowding the action. The caliber choice is the trick. With 357 Magnum from a carbine-length barrel, velocity sees a real bump, turning common soft points into hard-hitting, flat-shooting loads across ranch, gate, and gravel road distances. Drop to 38 special or 38 plus P and recoil softens for tight work around glass and sheet metal with less blast inside a cab. One ammo family works for both a belt revolver and the truck rifle, keeping logistics simple. No detachable magazines to lose, no springs to wear in the heat. A tube and a loading gate keep the manual of arms straightforward. Maintenance is easy. The action tolerates dust and temperature swings that kill lubrication. A quick wipe and a dab of oil keeps it running. For storage, the overall length is short enough for behind seat racks or a slim case under a rear bench. In use, the lever cycles with a short positive throw and follow-up shots stay flat. It's quiet compared to short centerfire semis and plays well with low flash loads at night. For drivers who want legal clarity, broad state compliance, and a gun that doesn't read tactical at a glance, this lever checks a lot of boxes. Ruger PC Carbine Takedown. A Takedown PCC solves the storage problem without giving up sight radius or barrel length. Ruger's PC Carbine splits in seconds. Lock the bolt, push, twist, and the barrel group comes off. Two short pieces slide into a nondescript bag, no silhouetted rifle case in view. Reassembly is as quick. The interface returns to zero reliably, so a zeroed optic on the receiver stays honest. Under the hood, the PC Carbine uses a heavy dead-blow mass to smooth blowback impulse. That keeps the dot from bouncing and shrinks split times in confined spaces. The barrel is threaded 1/2 by 28 for brakes or cans where legal, and cold hammer forging brings durability to a gun that might ride in heat, cold, and dust. Controls are simple and mirrored. Reversible magazine release, ambi-charging handle, cross-bolt safety. Ghost ring sights ship ready while the full receiver rail takes a micro dot cleanly. Magazine flexibility is the headline. The gun ships with Ruger's insert, but swaps to a Glock pattern mag well in minutes. That means one stack of magazines can serve both the truck carbine and a common duty or carry pistol. In a vehicle role, that matters more than most specs. One ammo can, one mag type, fewer surprises. Accuracy is carbine honest. Pistol caliber trajectory, but tight, repeatable groups to the distances a driver can realistically use around a vehicle. Recoil stays mild, blast stays reasonable, and the gun runs clean with modern 9mm defensive loads. For a truck that needs discreet storage, quick assembly, and a familiar manual of arms, this takedown layout is hard to beat. Ruger 1022 Takedown. A 22 LR isn't a fight stopper, but it is a truck tool. The 1022 Takedown paired with a backpacker stock turns into a flat, self-contained kit. The forend locks the barrel in place for transport, the butt stores spare magazines, and the whole rig slides under a seat or into a door bin. No loose parts, no rattling case. It's the right answer for pests on fence lines, small game camp chores, and training reps that build real gun handling without burning centerfire ammo. Function is why this combo keeps showing up. The 1022 action runs filthy and cold, magazines feed reliably, and the takedown joint holds zero with a properly tensioned collar. A short optic rail supports a compact red dot. Irons remain as a backup. With subsonic loads and, where legal, a suppressor, the report drops below attention-getting levels for night work around barns and lots. High-velocity loads still carry enough authority for varmints while staying controllable for fast follow-ups from seated braced positions. The platform rewards good habits. A 2-point sling turns the light rifle into a stable, push-pull brace when stepping out of the cab. The straight stock angle and low bore line make dot acquisition automatic when the gun comes up from the lap. In bad weather, a quick shake clears water, and the polymer furniture shrugs off dings from toolboxes and tie-downs. This isn't a replacement for a defensive long gun. It's a complementary tool that gets used more often. In a truck loadout already anchored by a 12-gauge PCC or carbine, the 1022 adds capability without adding bulk. Smith & Wesson M&P 12. The M&P 12 packs a lot into a short package. Dual magazine tubes for 14+1 with 2 3/4-inch shells, or 12+1 with 3-inch. A bullpup layout that keeps overall length to about 27.8 inches and weight just over 8 pounds unloaded, right in line with other bullpup shotguns. Controls mirror AR-style ambi layouts, the muzzle takes rem choke tubes, and the gun layers practical touches like a loaded chamber indicator, Picatinny rail up top, MLOK for accessories, and a push-button assisted load-unload system. The trade-off. The loading system is not ideal for topping off mid-fight, so the generous tube capacity is the plan. Fill it and run it. Price sits north of $1,000 and the polymer heft won't win over traditionalists, but as a high-capacity maneuverable 12-gauge that lives well in tight vehicle spaces, it checks the mission boxes. Springfield Kuna. Built around a roller-delayed action to shoot softer than typical blowback PCCs, this compact PDW pairs a 6-inch barrel with an overall length of about 15.5 inches and a weight of 4 pounds 10 ounces. The upper and handguard are machined aluminum. The lower is reinforced polymer with a removable AR pattern grip. It ships with 2 translucent 30-round mags, a 20-round option would be ideal for bag carry, and controls are fully ambidextrous, bilateral safety, mag release, bolt release, and a reversible charging handle. Up top, a full-length 1913 rail carries optics and integrates flip-up sights. The rear plate offers a rail section for braces or stocks where configured, and the threaded muzzle arrives with a multi-port brake installed. For drivers who want a soft-shooting, ultra-short platform that still runs fast and clean in and around a vehicle, this PDW stacks a lot of function into a very stowable footprint. That's the point of a truck gun build. Not flash, but fast access, discrete storage, and control when space and time run out. The right platform lets a driver move through seatbelts and door frames, confirm what's in front of the muzzle, and land accurate hits without broadcasting that a gun lives in the cab. Keep a white light first, a simple dot second, stage mags where hands fall, and practice the draw from the seat. Done right, a truck gun is a tool, not a billboard. If this helped, smash like, share a road-tested setup, and subscribe to Firearms Standard for field-driven tests and smarter loadouts.